Hey guys, welcome back to Bibliophile Reads. I'm Courtney, and today you're joining me for my weekly wrap up. It is Saturday, early evening, and I'm hopping on so I have time to edit this and put this up tomorrow. And I want to update you on what I was able to read this week. I feel like this week was pretty good. I'm trying to be easy on myself. I finished three and a half books. And I wanted to get like 4 or 5 done. That didn't happen for me, but I'm going to walk you through how this week went. And then we'll pick out the books I'm going to read for next week. So let's start off with the first book that I wrapped up this week was Margot's Got Money Troubles. I talked about this a little bit. I believe I talked about it at the end of my video last week possibly. But I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I was really conflicted. I sat on that book for a minute before I gave it a rating because I was really unsure where to go with it. It was good, but like I have no idea what happened. This book follows Margot, who is a 19-year-old college student who gets sort of seduced and swept up into a romance with her English professor. He's married, and she knows that, and they continue to date, but she ends up getting pregnant and he completely abandons her. And then we follow Margot's journey into deciding to have the baby versus abortion, losing her job, just like all the things. It's literary fiction and super realistic. Like, it was nothing glorious about this book. So I gave it 4 stars because it kept me interested the whole time. The book was well written. There was a lot going on, but the reason why I didn't get 5 and why I sat on it for a little bit is because I was really confused why everything happened so negatively for Margot. I guess not all books have to have like a nice little bow at the end, but like literally nothing positive happened for her from the beginning to end. Everything was bad. And so even the ending was bad. So that's what got me a little bit like, I don't know what to rate this. But overall, a really good book. I do recommend it. I did mean to put it in my unhaul. That video is coming out on Thursday, but I left it. It's sitting right by my bed. I don't want to read that book again. So I'll put that in my next time that I head to Half Price Books. But 4 stars, and that was the first book I kind of wrapped up at the beginning of this week. The next book I read was Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie something. This is the last name. And I have this book. It's a YA book. I have this book also on Kindle. And I ended up giving this book, I'm going to pull up my rating, 3 stars. Okay, so I gave this book 3 stars because, actually I gave it 2.5. 3 stars on Goodreads, but it's actually a 2.5. This book follows Lucy and Jack. They're in high school. Lucy's mom owns this nice little quaint coffee shop, and right across the street, a new sort of Starbucks branded coffee shop is coming, Java Junction, and Jack's family owns Java Junction. Jack is new to the city, and he's in her classes, and so she's seen him around but doesn't realize that his family is the competition. And so one thing that Java Junction does that her homie sort of coffee shop doesn't is they make a pumpkin spice latte. And we know how serious those are. And so we go on a quest of Lucy creating a pumpkin spice latte for the coffee shop and Jack helping, and then they're falling in love in the middle of it. This book was so odd to me. First of all, it is the YA coffee version of You've Got Mail. And it was just like, it dragged on for no reason. This desire to make the perfect pumpkin spice latte for the entirety of the book was something I didn't need in my life, and I will never miss this. I would have unhauled this, but I creased it pretty good, so I don't want to just give that away. But yeah, it wasn't exciting. It wasn't that good. It was a cutesy book. The writing is nice and big, spaced out on the page. We have lots of pages of like text messages, so easy enough to get through. I just wasn't like pulled in by this book. So there's that one. And then I had the hopes to read Leather and Lark. So here's Leather and Lark. Let me pull the cover up on my Kobo. So I've had Leather and Lark on my Kobo for a minute. Oh, I don't know why it's not showing. I'll put the picture up here. And I just can't, I ended up DNFing it this week. So it's been on my Kobo. I'm about 38% in. And then I also have the paperback book, and I was trying to read that yesterday. I had the day off. It was so glorious. And I finished the book and then popped into Leather Lark again. And I just couldn't catch a rhythm, and I just decided I'm going to DNF it. This is the sequel to Butcher and Blackbird. I really liked Butcher and Blackbird. It was such a weird, quirky book. And Leather Lark, I just can't catch the rhythm. And it's probably totally me because I keep picking it up, putting it back down. But it's just not hitting at all. So I DNF'd that. But good thing something came and swept in. Lynn Painter's new book, Nothing Like the Movies, came to the rescue. It came out on Tuesday. I picked up a physical copy and I have the digital copy. I flew through this book and have passed it on to my oldest. It is a YA sequel to Better Than the Movies. I ended up giving this 4 stars. And that's about the average rating on Goodreads. And this book follows our main characters, Wes and what's the girl's name? Let me pull it up. Liz. Wes and Liz. And we are about 2 years after where we left off with them. We left off with them sort of in high school, finishing off. And they were a couple. They are longtime neighbors, and they fell into like a fake dating coupledom in the first book. And in this book, they are broken up, and we find that they are at UCLA together. Wes had dropped out due to some circumstances. Now he's back. They run into each other and they're back in sort of the same friendship circles. And so we get kind of the backstory on why they broke up, as well as like them trying to rekindle and get to know each other again in this book. And so I just thought it was a great book. Lynn Painter hits every time. She does not miss for me. I thought it was excellent. Like I said, I flew through it and no regrets. I love this book. I do like Wes and Liz. I like their banter. Wes is kind of a douche though. Like now that I'm like sort of reading it again, he's not the nicest person. And so he's not my favorite kind of guy, but I liked their banter overall. And I was really glad to read that book because I was just able to cruise through that throughout the week. Now that did jump the line of some of my other books this week. And that's quite unfortunate, but it was so worth it. Okay, and the last book that I'm reading this week, I'm not done with it, but I will be done with it by tomorrow. But I want to add it into my weekly wrap up, is Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. This story follows Callum and, oh my gosh, what is the girl's name? You know, I can never remember these folks' names. Well, it follows 2 people who are in Ireland. Our main character girl is there for a job. She works with an animation crew, and she is the manager of the team. And she obviously, well, not obviously, but she's from the United States, and she's getting a little pushback from people on her team as the manager. She lives next door to Callum, who is an undertaker. He works at a morgue, and he helps embalm the bodies. And this is a family business. It's been passed down to him by his grandpa, and his grandpa recently passed away and stipulated that in order for Cal to keep the business, he would need to get married. And so there we are with the situation. And so I'm 32% in. They have not hunkered down into their marriage fake dating that I know is going to happen. But it's decent. It's definitely giving 3-star. I would need something major to pop up at this point to make it go higher. I actually saw this book at Barnes & Noble. I'm glad I didn't buy it from there. I just got the cheaper Kindle version. It's decent. It's not great. But it's a good light read. Like I said, I will finish this tomorrow, so I wanted to definitely include it. So those are the books that I read this week. I wanted to read more. I really, really did. And I just couldn't get through them. Not for lack of trying. Leather and Lark, I think, slowed me down, and that's why I DNF'd it. And then I've also been reading Annie Bot before bed on my Kobo. That kind of slowed me down a little bit because it's kind of stalled a bit. And so, you know, those things happen. So let's talk about what I'm reading this upcoming week. Okay, so I did not get to I'm Engaged to Mothman, but I have hopes of finishing this tomorrow. If I can finish Morbidly Yours, then I can get this one knocked out. I started listening to it on audio today, and it's super quick. It is 268 pages. So I feel like I could get this done tomorrow, but I'm not going to rush. If I don't, it's fine. And it goes into this upcoming week. Okay, let's find what other books I'm going to read. Okay, so if you haven't checked out my October TBR, please do that because I'm picking books from this huge stack. It's like over 20 books that I want to read this month. I don't know how many I'll actually get to, especially with all these new books coming out, but it is my goal. So I am picking some great books. Also, my Book of the Month Club should be here anytime now, so that's going to factor in. But the first book, let's talk about Kindle. I'm going to try to read at least one Kindle book because I always like to read before bed, and it's just easier on a Kindle than to hold a whole book in your hand. Okay, so actually, I need to pick one more because let's consider I'm Engaged to Mothman as like a done deal. Oh, got it. All right, so we're going to start off with The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I have this book on the Kindle. It's been big everywhere. It's just like a cozy romance novel, but I heard there's a little bit of spice in there. So we're going to do that. And then I think I'm going to read The Darkness Within Us. This book I saw at Barnes & Noble. It's a beautiful cover. I'll show it here because I was going to show you on the Kindle, but it is a beautiful fantasy YA novel, beautiful cover, and I was going to pick it up and buy it at the store, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just see how much it is on Kindle, and it's actually on Kindle Unlimited, so that's really great. So this book says Chrysantha Stathos has won. By hiding her intelligence and ambition behind the mask of a beautiful airheaded girl, she has become a wealthy duchess, and once her elderly husband dies, she will have all the freedom, money, and safety she's ever wanted. Or so she thought. A man claiming to be the estranged grandson of Chrysantha's late husband has turned up to steal her inheritance. To make matters worse, her little sister is going to be queen and is rubbing it in her face. Chrysantha decides that the only thing to do is upstage Alessandra at her own wedding, and as for this grandson, he has got to go. Never mind that he's extremely handsome and secretive with mysterious powers. No, Chrysantha wants Euryx Demos dead, and in the end, a Stathos girl always gets what she wants. So that just sounded so good to me. Maybe it's not YA because it doesn't sound YA-ish, but so good. So I'm going to do those two books on the Kindle. And then I have two smaller paperbacks. So then I'm going to go ahead and dive into Assistant to the Villain. This just screams fall to me. It's on my October TBR. I think we've kind of seen this everywhere. It says, with ailing family to support, Evie Sage's employment status isn't just important, it's vital. So when a mishap with Renadon's most infamous villain results in a job offer, naturally she says yes. No job is perfect, of course, but even less so when you develop a teeny crush on your terrifying, temperamental, and undeniably hot boss. Don't find evil so attractive, Evie. But just when she's getting used to severed heads suspended from the ceiling and the odd squish of an errant eyeball beneath her heel, Evie suspects this dungeon has a huge rat, and not just the literal kind. Because something rotten is growing in the kingdom of Renadon, and someone wants to make the villain and his entire nefarious empire out. Or wants to take the villain and the nefarious empire out. Okay, so this sounds good. The only problem is, and I've seen this before, the pages are really long. And there's small print, so we'll see how this goes. But I also have this on the Kindle, so I can pull that out as necessary. And then the other book that I want to read for something light is Love and Other Conspiracies. This is by Mallory Marlowe. This book, first of all, is just a cute cover, but this book follows Haley. She's just recently been dumped by her sort of TV reality star boyfriend, but she's in the middle of trying to produce this show. She runs into Hayden, who runs a podcast, and he decides, or they need a co-host for a show going on. He follows cryptids, and so they kind of form this podcast / YouTube, and they fall in love. obviously. So those are the books I think I'm going to read this week. I'm really excited about those books and the way that I'm doing this, of like parsing them out to get some done each week. Like I said, I'm hopeful to get Morbidly Yours done and I'm Engaged to Mothman done between today and tomorrow. And so we can get started on the week with a couple books already down. Anyway, that is the weekly wrap up. Comment down below what you think about the books that I've read or what I plan to read. Tell me what you're reading this week. Anything else you have to tell me about these books. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.